there are a lot of artists in here, we already know that much, so we're a little bit all over the place and somewhat unorganized, but my wife helps organize me to some extent, but I'm gonna go through this, and I may not necessarily follow my plan, but we'll see how it works out. I'm so excited to be back in Milwaukee. This place is an amazing place for me, and 2000 I was drafted to the Seattle Supersonics, and I remember working out for the Milwaukee Bucks, and it was so cold. And I just said to myself, anywhere but Milwaukee, please don't draft me. And I get drafted to rain for 3/4 of the year. And I can remember getting traded to the Milwaukee Bucks in the Ray Allen trade. And it was heartbreaking for me because I was so settled in my situation. And we flew in, George Karl was the coach. And I had to leave the next morning to fly and play in Portland, and then a back-to-back in Denver. And then I stayed at this hotel when I got back because I didn't have a house. And it was snowing sideways. And I had never seen that kind of snow. And so I got through that year, we made the playoffs, and then from there, I just fell in love with the city. It was the people, it reminded me of home. It was something that was comfortable. I stayed in this hotel for 3.5 months, immediately when I showed up. But whenever I come back now, and this is 2018, and I was in 2003, and the Bucks asked me which hotel do I want to stay in, this is where I stay every time, because this is home. All the people, a lot of the people are still here. That was here when I came as this 24-year-old. So it was an amazing experience. And then the other thing I want to say too is I'm somewhat okay with multitasking, but not the best at this situation. But I'm gonna make it work. I promise I'll make it work. So anyway, who I am, Waxahachie, Texas, where I was born, a town of 9,000 people south of Dallas, and it's home for me. It's my whole family's there. It's where I went through a lot of trials and tribulations, but it's a place that really supported me and my family coming up. And they didn't know they were supporting me, but it started to mold who I was as an individual. So when you look at who I am, I'm a basketball player, I'm an artist, I'm a father, I'm a husband. I support my community. I want to give back to my community. And I had a great career in basketball. And Milwaukee Bucks was a major part of that. It was the longest place I played in my 10-year career. It was almost 5 years. Anyone can tell you in the NBA, it's the average of about a 2.5 to 3 year career. And I was blessed and fortunate to not only play for 10 years, but to have 4.5 years in Milwaukee to meet some really amazing people. And so, we'll get into a little bit more about who I am as an individual a little bit later, and then we're going to do Q&A where you can ask anything. I'm transparent, the good, the bad, the ugly, and it molded me to who I am today, and so I'm happy and humbled to always talk about that. So when I think about art, and you guys can read or you can listen, it's up to you. But when I think about art and basketball, it was amazing how, those two worlds collided for me, because I protected art from basketball because it was my getaway from basketball. And so I protected it from people for such a long time. Basketball and the ups and downs of it, the goods and bads, the good games, the bad games, the stress and the hard work, it takes a toll on you, whether you're 5 years old playing in Pee Wee or you're LeBron James, or everyone thinks you walk on water, and he goes on every day because he missed a shot or made a bad play. It takes a toll on you. But art was my getaway, and so I protected that for such a long time. But when those worlds collided, it was probably about 2001, and it was my first art exhibition. And I can remember that show where I had 15 paintings in Seattle, and I'm like, man, I'm going to sell out, telling them I'm about to kill this. And I sold one. I was heartbroken. I was so heartbroken. And I sold it. It was like $400. And I was like, you put all this hard work into it. And I finally figured out, I said, it's a process. It's not, you don't get to flip a coin, and if it lands on heads, everything's okay. It's a process. And I can remember just looking at all this work. I put so much time into it. And I was doing so much hyper-realism at the time. And I just watched everybody eat my food and drink my wine, and leave my show and my buddy bought the $400 Eiffel Tower. It was so bad, but all the artists in here know exactly what I'm talking about. Know exactly what I'm talking about. So, but I think we're here right now, most importantly, and I think Sculpture Milwaukee, first off, thank you for having me in this city and everyone that's involved. But what you guys doing is pretty amazing, and everybody that's involved is pretty amazing to drive up and down. This is Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and I'm gonna be really honest about this. Most people wouldn't think of this as an art mecca. It's kind of like Oklahoma City, but the amount of talent in such a small place is pretty amazing. And so just to kind of go up and down the street and see his sculptures is pretty amazing. But we're here to talk about Hank Willis Thomas. I just recently got a chance to learn his work and to study his work and to engage in what it is he's trying to accomplish with this work. And a New Jersey guy, born a year younger than me. I won't say our ages, but anyway, he's 76, I'm 77, I'm younger. You can just tell through his work that he's trying to accomplish something special. And in New York now, and I went through his accolades, and I had to do this. I think I brought him in. No, I did. We printed off his accolades on paper. It was at least 20 sheets. Am I wrong? It was like 20 sheets of just amazing. It is in collections all over the world and in museums and galleries. And it was pretty amazing to see a guy from Jersey, to accomplish some of the things he's accomplished now. And so, when we go down through his work, I remember that I related so much to some of the stuff, and we're gonna get to it, and I wanna be able to talk about me, and I wanna get this out there in the open for all artists and people that are art lovers. I'm never gonna pretend to know what an artist is thinking when they're creating their work. It's not my place. I have my interpretation, which is what art is. It's for you to interpretate on your own. But I won't pretend that. When I see his work, it resonates with me in a lot of different ways. And so, in saying that, my interpretation, what you're here this evening, is just my interpretation. Hank, there is a whole nother level of what he's trying to accomplish with his work, and I'm not gonna pretend to know that. So when you hear what I say today, it's my feelings by looking at something from an amazing artist. So I wanna get that out there in the open, first and foremost. But, his work is, he's breaking barriers on a consistent basis. He's using media, he's using social issues, he's using his thought process to just break down walls for your art. And I think that's pretty amazing. Some people don't have the courage to step up and really address those issues, whether it be verbally or through art or even in a conversation with a table. I know I'm the type of person that when it comes to my political views, it's personal to me. But some people have the courage to step up and have that conversation in public. And I'm honest, I'm not one of those people, But to see a guy like this, see Hank create work and attack issues in such a broad range, is pretty amazing. His works, it's sculpture and photography, videography. It's kind of mixed media. It's endless of what he accomplishes via his work. And so in saying that, I applaud him as an artist because he's tackling issues that I think a lot of people aren't prepared to tackle today, or do they want to tackle today as well. We're gonna go down some of this list, and trust me, I wish I had that stack of papers so I can just kind of flop them around so you can see how many, but it was probably about a 14 font. It was 20 pages of line after line of his accomplishments. And so I would say just take a little time to read these couple of slides about what he's accomplished. I can't even pronounce the third one in Paris. But just a little time of really engaging in what he's accomplished. This is one of the most talented young artists in our country today, and if you don't know him, I really urge you to study this young guy because he's something special, and he's going to be part of history when it's all said and done. But the next couple of slides are pieces that really spoke to me, and the truth booth, and I think that obviously speaks for itself. And I saw some eyebrows go up because I'm pretty sure some people want to step aside that. But in saying it was, and this is my interpretation, is when you look at that symbol, to me, that symbol is a symbol of speaking. I remember cartoons. You saw those things. As soon as you saw that little bubble, you knew that cartoon was talking. And so with this, to me, when I first looked at it, speak the truth, whatever that looks like. You know, whatever your truth is, speak that truth. And so to me, that's something that really resonated with me. And my wife is here, and she knows our little family thing is, we say truth. When that person says truth with her or eye, the next thing that's coming out of their mouth, you have no right to say anything back. It's kind of like, hey, this is how I feel, and I just want you to hear me out. I don't need to debate about it. I don't need to talk about it. And truths are sometimes good, and they're sometimes bad, and they're sometimes in the middle. Again, it can be truth. That shirt sucks. I thought it was the best shirt I ever bought, but so that to me is truth. And as soon as I saw this, that was something that really resonated, because it was all about speaking the truth. And again, that's everyday life. You know, you step out, and to me, there's no guesswork when people are honest and they speak the truth. And so this is one of the pieces that really resonated. I think the second one right here is love overrules. And for me, it's a dual meaning. There is a space between those words, but to me, I kept reading it over and over and over again. I'm like, okay, is it overrules or is it over rules? So is it love supersedes rules, or is it love rules all by saying overrules? And I just kind of kept going through that in my head, but it's very general. In our world, in our country today, I think that's something that we're struggling with right now, and that's just love in general. I'm not saying you have to be in love with somebody, but you know, love is appreciation and respect and understanding as well. And so to me, I really love this piece because one, it was confusing. I just kind of kept reading it over and over and over again. But also, I think he was really trying to say that, you know, we have some things that we need to address globally. And I think that's all about love. And that's all about understanding and respect and appreciation. It doesn't matter what your situation is, what your background is, you know, race, religion. Like, it's not your place to judge. You respect, understand, and appreciate people as people. And you don't have to hang out with them and have dinner with them, but you at least do those things. And I think that's really important. And I think Hank did a great job just in these words, these 3 words, did a great job of really expressing that. And so I really, that was really important to me. This one was really big for me. The basketball and chain, and again, it's an African-American basketball player jumping high in the sky with his ball and chain connected to him, symbolizing ball and chain, basketball being the ball, obviously. But I thought about this today, and I told my wife, I got this one. Like, I got this one, because this is a little bit about my life that this really tapped into for me, and it's emotional for me because it's some hard decisions were made. You know, I never thought I was gonna ever make it to NBA. Like, there was no way. From Waxahachie, Texas, eating the hot links and chopped beef sandwiches and pickle pig feet, I didn't think that was gonna be the case. And so I did. I got a college scholarship, and I was the first person to ever do it, not just in my family, but in my town in general. And then I'm the first NBA basketball in the history of my town's existence ever. And so to do all that, you feel like you hit the lottery when they call your name. You don't feel like you hit the lottery. But, you know, but there's a lot that comes with that. You know, you feel like, oh, man, I did it, I finally did it. And the one thing I realized about 2 years into my career is that ball got heavier every time I picked it up. You know, I felt like I was carrying it around everywhere I went, and I say this with all due respect. It's hard to go in places where you just kind of want to relax after a 10-day road trip, and you can't go to the grocery store. You can't go to the gas station. You can't have dinner. You know, you can't relax. And then you think, okay, I'm gonna tell you who my saving grace is. It's gonna be my family. My mom, dad, my brother, my sister, they're the worst. Because you're emotionally tied to the situation, and you really feel like you owe them for everything that you've accomplished, and you just continue to see them suck the life out of you. And most of it revolves around money. I lost relationships with friends. You know, my dad and I stopped talking for a long time. I drew a big line in the sand and said, the money stops today. You know, my mom, there were times we would talk about later that scenario, but my brother and sister, you know, it just got really hard. Friends. And so that lottery ticket became a metal ball, just dragging you down. And it's not just the family side, it's the politics of it. Nobody thought I was gonna make it. I was as good as the kid from Duke, but he was a top 5 draft pick, at least slotted that. And I worked all summer just trying to make my way. And I won MVP of camps. It still wasn't good enough. It was politics of the game. And then when I got in the NBA, it was more politics of the game. And then when you get out of the game, then they're judging you because, well, you know, maybe he didn't make 20 million. Maybe he didn't make 2 million. Oh, he's not as good as LeBron. Like it becomes a judgment consistently. And so that thing that you loved the most when you were 5 years old, where you would have shot in a peach basket all day long or stayed out in the middle of the night, it becomes a gigantic weight. And so that really resonated with me. And so that is, which we'll hear a little bit more later, but to me, this is one of my favorite pieces that he's ever done, and the photography piece. But obviously, again, Liberty. We're at Liberty. And so I think this is really cool because I saw the photo that this piece was based off of. And I have, again, my artist perception. You know, everything that I'm saying is my perception. To me, I think this is an amazing piece because it tackles a lot of things in such a simple way. I think we can all, to some extent, say liberty is freedom, to an extent. They go hand in hand, if they're not exactly the same. And so when I saw the photo of this piece, I just thought to myself, one, I think it's an amazing piece of artwork. I think he captured so much in something, well, I respectfully say so simple, but it's an amazing piece of artwork. And I think it's impactful. When you see it, it just catches your eye. I mean, you really can't dodge the fact that it's there, but this is what it's based off of. And you have the Harlem Globetrotters. This photo is 1986. The Harlem Globetrotters, which when they first started, I think in the world of basketball, there was definitely a lot of racial issues at that time. And you have the Harlem Globetrotters that was what people thought was a spoof on basketball. You know, they're throwing confetti and so on and so forth, but you know, when you see this athlete spinning the ball in the same format as Lady Liberty with the torch, which the Statue of Liberty, it identifies this country with freedom and being united and you know, all the equality and all the things that comes with what liberty means. He's basically saying, this is my freedom. Basketball is my freedom. This is my getaway. A lot of those guys came from nothing. But I think he's really identifying with, this is my freedom. And I think Hank, in a very simple way, took this photo, cropped it down, created an amazing sculpture, and it spoke volumes. And so to me, it's a piece that if you hadn't seen it yet, you know, make sure you get a chance to go see it. Just really digest that thought process that, you know, that player right there at that moment in New York, probably never been in New York. Probably never seen, you know, that kind of skyline. And he's doing what he does best, and that's spin a ball on one finger with the Harlem Globetrotters, who's, you know, fast becoming one of the most popular basketball teams on the planet. And he's expressing his freedom and the thing that releases him and allows him to be free. And so, I mean, really just digest on that, because that's something that we all have an opportunity to do, and that's find whatever it is that makes us free. And then also appreciate and respect other things that make other people free. And I think that is, again, it's a piece that if you hadn't seen it, I mean, get a chance, you go out and see it. And so, you know, but with Hank, just in closing, because the rest of this is my junk. But with Hank in closing is, you know, for me, I can be real honest about this. I took 4 years of art history and I studied a lot of artists. And, you know, you just regurgitate the stuff that you read on a consistent basis. And I love everything about it. But, you know, I've slowly started to try to identify the next generation of artists. And there are lots of them. And I actually had this conversation just a little bit ago. It's funny how when you have and if there's an art critic in this room, I'm gonna be honest, excuse me, but it's funny when you have someone that's never done what you've done critique what it is that you do and love. Right? I do a radio show that's about basketball. It's kind of my basketball fix. And so within that statement, I said to a listener, because we constantly get listeners, and I don't really bite my tongue that much, we constantly get listeners and they have rebuttals. This is the guy that's sitting in his couch tweeting Cheetos on his chest. And we started talking about basketball, and he's telling me, oh, well, just because you play, you know more than me. And I said, that's exactly what I'm saying. I don't understand what you don't understand. That's exactly what I'm saying. Because if my doctor says, Desmond, you need to do X, Y, and Z, I'm not going to go, Doc, I feel like you're a little wrong on that one. I'm going to go and do what the doctor who has a PhD and went to med school, he's going to tell me to do it. So in saying that, I think that when you critique people's work and you've never done it, you're just picking a side. If you don't like what it looks like visually, whatever, you're not open-minded. I think when I look at Hank's work as a fellow artist, like I can see, especially in the basketball room, I can see what he's trying to accomplish. And if I don't understand what he's trying to accomplish, I'm trying to find out what he's trying to accomplish. And so if you hadn't had a chance to really study this guy, and I'm doing it now, I'm studying not just him, but a lot of the young artists. If you hadn't had a chance, and you're one of the veteran artists of Milwaukee, I met this whole entire row right there of the veteran artists of Milwaukee, and I know lots of artists here, but if you hadn't had a chance, not just study this artist who lives in New York, but engage in your own community as well. You know, go out and study the next generation of artists, and for the people that aren't artists but art lovers, go out and find out about some of these amazing artists here in Milwaukee. And so, again, going through who I am, and we'll get to the next step. And I want you guys just to read it. I won't talk in these next couple of slides, but I'll say this. Just a little bit of background about me. I was 3 years old and I was burned. And the doctor said I would never run ever again. I would always have issues walking. And my dad was, at that time, my dad was 17 when I was born, so that puts me at 20. My mom was 19 because she was 16. I spent 6 months in the hospital, skin grafts, plastic surgeries, tons and tons of rehab. And by 5 or 6, I was starting to kind of move around a little bit better and play sports. And so it was hard going through junior high and high school because one, especially in junior high, like Nightmare on Elm Street was really big. Freddy Krueger was the man at the time. And so kids can be really, really mean. Trust me, don't feel bad for me. It was good for me, I won't get to it, but kids can be really, really mean. And so I jokingly say this because I'm kind of okay with it, is, that situation gave me tough skin, literally. It gave me tough skin, but it was going through all those situations at a young age, it gave me tough skin. My dad was probably the biggest drug dealer from South Dallas to Waco at the time, when we're talking over 100 miles. And so, he was the man. And I was a fighter in the streets on a regular basis. My dad went to prison when I was 11. And so I was the man of the house at 11. So I was out at 6 in the morning shooting craps in the streets to get about $5 to get some food for my brother and sister. And then my mom got hooked on drugs right when I went to college. And then from there I put her through rehab with my Pell Grant and my scholarship money, while my teammate's mom paid my portion of the rent. And so it was glamorous on the outside because everybody's like, oh, they're playing the NCAA tournament, they get all this gear. And I was sending money to a rehab in Cedar Hill, Texas to hopefully get my mom off of crack cocaine, which we did. And so in saying that, it was a tough upbringing from that situation. Art was the thing I tell people all the time. Most people say athlete turned artist. No, it's the other way around. I was an artist that grew 3.5 inches in the summer, and just was really good at sports, and became an athlete, but still did art. And I tell people, NBA got in the way for 10 years, and now I'm back where I need to be. And so it's my passion. It always has been my passion. It always will be my passion. I take it extremely serious, and the art world doesn't identify with an athlete, and not just an athlete, an African-American athlete that creates art. They don't go hand in hand. And I tell people they go hand in hand much more. You just don't think about it, but they do go hand in hand. And so just a little bit about adults in here. So I'm going to say how they go hand in hand, because this is what we teach our kids. In the NBA basketball game, there's a basketball that somebody drew, and then somebody constructed a creative mind just for that basketball. The jerseys, that's apparel design. Somebody drew those before some fashion designer sewed them and stitched them together. The hardwood, a craftsman put that together. The seats were designed, the fabrics, the plastics, the screws, were somebody that had a creative mind. The arena, an architect designed that gigantic thing that's downtown. An architect designed. The music, somebody created before you can even play it. The speakers that somebody drew and designed. The dancers, the lighting, the videography, the photography, the seat you're sitting in, the phones you talk on, the clothes you're wearing. I tell this consistently, if you think art isn't prevalent in your life on a daily basis, you've lost your mind. And that's just the honest truth. And so, in saying that, I'm really all about pushing the arts and the arts initiative and you know, speaking from my heart. And so these next 2 slides are things that I've internalized, thought about, and then voiced, because it identifies who I am as an artist. And so I want you guys to read them, and I'll give you time. I don't want to say them, I just want you to read them and just think about them. And I think all the artists will definitely understand, and all the art lovers, they'll get it because they got art friends. And if you're not either or, just think about it, because I think they relate to life, whatever your craft is, whatever it looks like.